Welcome back, folks, to Viewpoint, the Brian Heeraman podcast. This is episode number 26, and this is also the new year 2021. Well, it's not really a new year. We're already into the second week of the new year, but it is the first episode for 2021, episode number 26, and are we off to a bang? So much issues to be dealt with, and I'm going to try and get to everything. I'm not quite sure if I will, because like I said, it's the first issue for this year, and it's the first podcast for this year, and we have so many things that I need to talk about, but I also don't want to go too lengthy with my podcast, as I've mentioned before, but we'll see how it goes. But before we get started, let me just take this opportunity to remind everyone that this podcast is available on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Twitter, and also there's one more that I'm missing out, YouTube as well. That's right. So, where do we get started? First of all, let me just start this podcast off by saying, let me wish the Prime Minister a speedy recovery. I know he was hospitalized and he underwent some minor surgery. So I wish him a speedy recovery. Like I've always said on this podcast, regardless of your views, your political affiliations, or political ideology, when someone is sick, we need to put all those things aside and wish that person, well, and hope that they have a fast and smooth recovery. So, with that being said, let's get on with it. I also want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a happy new year, a bright and prosperous new year, a year full of great opportunities. If you have listened to my last podcast episode, however, you would have thought that I'm pretty pessimistic about the year 2021. But even if I am, and I am, but I still wanna wish everyone best for 2021. I mean, we should always have hope and faith and that great things would happen, and that's what I want to do in this podcast by wishing everyone a great 2021. I'm a God fearing person, so even if I believe that based on what we did in 2020, things are not looking very optimistic in my point of view, but I still believe that at some I have to believe that somewhere out there that God is looking along, and maybe he will take control and guide these so-called leaders correctly and put things in place and ensure that if it is that the folks out there is looking for jobs, that there will be the right opportunities. If it is you're looking to try and get some sort of financial reward or something. I just hope that we have to live on that. That something's bigger is out there, and something big out there is going to happen and take the right control and lead these people in charge down that right path. So where should I begin first? Where should I start? What topic do I want to deal with first? Well, I'm tempted to carry on with the whole local content in terms of what's been taking place in Trinidad and Tobago, but most of these issues that have crop up. I've dealt with it in some form or fashion previously. Obviously, there are new issues, but I just can't ignore the elephant in the room. And forgive me, folks, but I have to dive outside and talk about what took place on January 6th, Washington D.C., United States, whole Donald Trump issue. We'll get back to the local issues, I assure you. Even if it's not for long, I still will touch on some local issues. But what took place on January 6th? It's amazing how some people react to this. I mean, it's crazy what takes place in Trinidad and Tobago. Oh my God. What took place on January 6th? January 6th, Trump had a rally in Washington, D.C., and, some loonies entered the Capitol, stormed the Capitol Hill and entered the Congress. And, basically, it seemed from the video that I watched that the DC police basically invited these people. I mean, it was crazy what took place. But what is even more remarkable is the concern that came out of Trinidad and Tobago. Oh my God, people were, oh my God, Trump, he embarrassed the United States. Oh my God, Trump is a horrible person. I can't believe this. The United States got so small. He made the country look so stupid in front of the entire world. They're no different from Iran and North Korea and China. Really? I mean, I have heard so much BS about what took place there. I mean, the fake sympathy that emanates from some people out in this country is disgusting, to say the least. I mean, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago has the audacity brazen face to issue a statement of concern about what took place in DC. This prime minister who deals with a dictator in Venezuela, somebody who is starving his own people, who's killing his own people, who's forcing them to flee because of his policies. That guy also issued a statement. And this prime minister is dealing with such an individual and issuing a statement of concern for DC. Really, people? Where was the concern, Mr. Prime Minister? Where was the concern, folks, when BLM and Antifa was burning down cities in the United States? Where was the concern? No one wasn't concerned. I didn't see anybody saying that BLM or Antifa was embarrassing the United States of America. There was no such concerns coming out. The fake sympathy wasn't there. I mean, is it only because it was Donald Trump and the Republican Party and the highlight? I mean, if your source of news is CBS, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, or the Clinton or the Comedy News Network, I mean, then that's not news. That's tabloids. I mean, those things can't give you news. That source of information is so fake. I mean, they go out there and they tell you that they're independent source of news. They are not. Why can't they just simply say, you know what, hey, I support the Democrat Party. Fox News is leaning Republican or conservative, or Newsmax, whatever. So be it. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you portray yourself like some sort of holier than thou independent person, it's crazy. I mean, here we have a system where in Trinidad and Tobago, and I have to come back and I have to use the comparison in Trinidad and Tobago, where your prime minister dealing with Maduro, but no one says anything. There's no sympathy. We are living under the prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago, whose key spokesperson is a flagrant liar. This minister of national security tells lies like there's no tomorrow. I mean, but there's no sympathy. He grants exemption for people to return to the country and leave the country willy-nilly. Shampa Kudro leaves the country, she comes back in, but her excuse is, you know what? I travel with Dr. Rai Ragbir. So what? If Rai Ragbir traveled without the proper protocols, or he was granted some favors, and wrong is wrong regardless of who got it. But no, but in Trinidad and Tobago, there's always a double standards. There was no sympathy, there was no memes, there was no expression when BLM was burning down cities. When Donald Trump won the election in 2016, I didn't hear about no sympathy then. I didn't hear about nobody expressing a word when they were marching through, burning down cities, protesting, stating that how not my president. There was no sympathy then. Go to Portland, check out check out the charred remains from the BLM and the Antifa protests. Where was the sympathy then? I mean, I've always said on this podcast, and not just on this episode, I'm repeating it, but in previous episode, there can be no proper system when there's a double standard that exists. I mean, Trinidad and Tobago should be the last country to even express any form of sympathy given what we are living under. It's insane what takes place here as an excuse for leadership, for governance, for even. You have a prime minister. I mean, it's remarkable. This prime minister supervised the gutting of the procurement legislation, but no one says a word about it. The boat reach, it's nice. Yeah, bring the next one, bring two more. But you don't care. No one cares about how the money got, where the money came from, what better use the money could have been done for. No one cares about those things. Just bring it because it's nice and it'll create. If it costs 500 million, yeah, it's still here. Really, folks? This is what the procurement, this guy, James Chankett, who was the vice chair of the deputy chairman, sorry, of the procurement board. This is what he said. He resigned 26 days into his contract. But, oh my God, God forgive Carl Imbert, that minister of finance, whose justification for the comments made by this deputy chair, I don't even know his name. What is his name? His name is, let me see. I'm going to find his name in his comments for you guys. James Chankett, that's his name. I don't know who James Chankett is. I've never heard of this guy before. But for the Minister of Finance to come and say that the reason why this guy is making these statements is because he only have 26 more days in his contract. Really? Really? I mean, this is what we take in Trinidad and Tobago for governance. I just can't understand. Hear what James Chankit said. He said, the relative silence of the society and some members of the board on accepting the sorry state of affairs in a fast dwindling and bankrupt economy. That's what he's saying. He's saying all of this because, as far as he's concerned, I want to get the next quotation. The subsequent stalling and stymieing of our efforts to have the necessary regulations proclaimed as we went through the many challenges in our jurisdiction. That's what he's saying. He said it was subtle attacks brought on by the government via its agencies, the Minister of Finance, and the Attorney General, both subtle and frontal. But there's no concern, there's no sympathy from everybody. Your system in Trinidad and Tobago is collapsing by the day. Your Prime Minister is creating a scenario whereby he's dealing with dictatorship and he's creating the avenues to bring that same dictatorship in Trinidad and Tobago. You have no rights to go out there. Just see that mass there, Gary, waiting for you to give you a ticket or something. I mean, I see a video whereby the police services shutting down some birthday party, charging 71 people. Oh my God, that is the biggest news for God knows for the entire week. That's going to be the biggest news. Gary shutting down a party, 71 people ticketed. Why can't Gary find the murderers? Isn't that the biggest issue? I don't understand how we see these simple things as big issues when the mountain is in front of us. We rather look at the molehill instead of the mountain. It's crazy. But going back to the whole issue of the dictatorship that's being brought about, you see how Gary Griffith behaves. He doesn't act independent. He acts based on the instructions of the Minister of National Security. He doesn't operate as though the police service is an independent source, an independent force going on there trying to do the right thing. No, he doesn't. But we are concerned about what takes place in the United States. The United States has a system, folks. Republicans and Democrats have been feuding for God knows how long, and they will continue to. And even when it gets out of hand, there's a system to deal with it. Ask yourself what's the system to deal with you? Your compadres, your brothers, your comrades, your sisters, they are locked outside of Trinidad and Tobago and they can't even return home, but there's no sympathy for them. Who tell them to travel? What they leave for? Huh? They know what's going to happen? They didn't see what's going to happen? That is the excuses that you make for them. You make for the government. Such fake sympathy, such fake excuses. It's mind-boggling. Okay, so all those folks out there who were concerned about what's taking place in the US, oh, you were so sorry, yes, oh, Trump was embarrassed. Okay, let's just say all of that happened. But let me enlighten you on something else that you can feel concerned about. So we can say the same level of vigor, the same level of concern that you can express of what's taking place right now. Are you all aware of what's taking place with the big tech companies right now? With how, Google and Apple, via its mechanisms such as Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, um, whatever other social media outlet there is, how they are basically isolating and locking out all conservative points of view. I mean, they're removing conservative people followers. They've blocked Donald Trump, all in total disregard for the First Amendment rule in the United States. I mean, they're using their 230 powers to basically block everything. They are totally in bed with the Democratic Party. They want no contact. They are locking out the conservative opinions from trying to keep them apart and not allowing them to have contact with each other. I don't see the concern being expressed then. I don't see no one having sympathy about that. But you're concerned only for those folks out there who believe that how Trump is such a horrible person. You're only concerned when things don't go in your favor. But as soon as they start to attack one section of people, in terms of the conservative points of view, you have no concerns about them. But let it be known out there that 74 million legitimate votes were cast in favor of Donald Trump. And those votes won't disappear. Trump did challenge the election results, and he has every right to challenge the election results. From what I've seen, where in some county in Georgia, where they just pull out two briefcases in late in the counting and just start scanning in votes, that can't be right. He's entitled to challenge the votes, and now it's done. The election is more or less over. there's going to be a smooth transition. The government, Joe Biden's going to come in. He's going to have opportunity to rule, and that's the process across there. But like I said, what is taking place in the United States right now with this whole big tech companies trying to lock out social media? It's wrong. It's dangerous to free speech because you can have no debate unless you have free speech. But the liberals are going to take over. They're going to try and run the country and show what they're capable of. And I guarantee you, what Donald Trump did in 4 years, no president can do in 8 years. That guy worked beyond. He kept the world safe. He kept Iran at bay. He showed North Korea who was boss, and he certainly put Russia in check. Nothing came across Trump. There were no wars. Whatever crisis there was, Trump took care of it. He killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Any other insurrections that came forth, they weren't willing to come forward because Donald Trump had them at bay. Let's see what Joe Biden is capable of. Let's see if he has the willpower, the strength to do it. I don't think he will because liberals operate differently. They rather deal than to just face the issue head on front. But we'll see what happens. I want to see some more concern, folks. I want to see some more concern from all you liberals out there, from all you people who believe that Trump is such a horrible person. Let's see your concern about freedom of speech. Let's see if you're concerned about the United States First Amendment. But you know what? From my experience, there is a significant section of our population, Trinidad and Tobago, who will take anything thrown at them, just as long as a certain government, specifically the People's National Movement, is in power. Because, and I shouldn't say just a certain section, because I make it sound as though it's just the PNM supporters, but it's a great silence from across all political spectrum and platforms in terms of what's taking place in Trinidad and Tobago, because no one says anything. Laws are being broken. We are just more uncomfortable with us sitting down there and just taking it as it comes. They march on January 6th. They march in 2016. They have a lot. They show their point of views. Up to now, Trinidad can't get it right to let this government know that we are not going down this crazy and loony road that you're attempting to take us down. Our economy is suffering. 2016, sorry, 2016 when Donald Trump took office, he took office when the Dow was low. He's leaving office with a Dow at in excess of 30,000. Trinidad and Tobago, the way our 2020 ended, 2021 is beginning the same way. Metanex sending home 60 or 70 employees. Yara confirming, and all because they're not willing to pay the gas price that your Prime Minister apparently negotiated in England with Shell and Enron and other companies, BP specifically. But no one says nothing about that. I mean, the economy is dying in Trinidad and Tobago. The big companies, imagine the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association is teaming up with the government to try and lock out rock hard cement in terms of their pricing games and what they're doing down here to try and have open competition. It's the first time that I've seen a Manufacturers Association voted to get rock hard cement off the market. They're supporting the government in increasing and decreasing the quotas and increasing the taxations and all that stuff. It's amazing. And it's not because they care about you. They care about themselves. They care about what they can get about it. Because if they care about you, they would want to have more competition, but they don't want to have more competition. And all of that is taking place to begin 2021. Now you understand why I'm not so very optimistic about what's taking place in 2021 for this country. But hey, it's all good. It's all good. We're concerned about what's taking place in America. That makes us super caring people. But right in our own backyard, our own country, things are falling apart. But hey, you know, the days continued. The hours pass by, the minutes pass by, and no one says nothing. Oh well. There is one more issue I want to talk about before I close up. I think I'm bordering on the right time that I said I was going to keep this podcast line on. But one more issue. This whole issue that's brewing up with this Natalie Legault host from CNC3, I think what was the name of the show? The Morning Brew? I don't watch the show actually, folks. I really don't. I think based on the statements that she made, and even previous statements, I think this woman's an idiot. I don't think she has any you know, her statement just shows how her thinking was. But having said that, she's an idiot. Her statements were borderline on racist, but whatever. She's entitled to her opinion. I don't care if your opinion is right or wrong, but let her have her opinion. But I am not one who's going to try and shut up from saying these stupid things that she want to say. If she want to say it and she wants to pay whatever price it's going to be paid down the road, then so be it. But at the end of the day, we know what she's thinking and where she's coming from, whether we agree with her or not. And that's what I want to say on that issue. I mean, like I said, I don't always agree with people's opinion, but I want you to have your opinion because it's the only way that we can move forward is by having civil conversation. By me knowing what you think and by you knowing what I think, that's where we can move forward. That's where we can find the best road to get to where we want to be. So, folks, let's. I want to end this podcast on that note. I mean, I didn't do much local topics today, but I think I touched on a lot of them. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, take care, folks. I mean, be safe out there. 2021, it's here. Let's make the best of it. Let's see what happens and be safe.